I'm feeling reluctant to say anything at this point. Much of what we initially needed to say has been said at some point throughout these MSB posts or videos. But I felt like I needed to let you all know who've been tracking with these posts that the morning after I posted the last video, which was basically saying Rob had kept making comments trying to escalate situations, along with my intense frustration with his mentioning of me endangering my children. The following morning, he sent me a response that included an apology. Let's look at this. Hey, Michael. First, I do want to apologize for the comment I made about you. I let my frustration with the road you're going down get the better of me. Even with everything going on, we were friends, and I wish things were not playing out the way they are. I re-listened to your last video towards Tiffany and I realized you were hurt. That has never been my intention. I obviously disagree with the narrative you're putting out. I feel like you're taking a personal vendetta that you have towards your mom and a few council ladies out on the entire church. I also believe encouraging people to go on the attack when they leave the church is the source of relationships being disrupted. I know I'm never going to change anybody's mind in regards to how they feel about the church. All I hope to do was to prevent some of the people who have left to not go down the road of alienating their family. People who have already done it, I'm sure, will continue to justify their position. I just pray that more families who are choosing different paths than one another when it comes to the church don't go down this road. I don't send this expecting you to make any changes in what you're doing, but I will not comment on anything you post moving forward. I ultimately hope someday you and your sister can rebuild a relationship. I do know that she is willing to. I'm still not clear what caused you to go on the attack towards her. I assume it is your deep hatred of your mom and those that were close to her that are now close to Elizabeth. I also know you may choose to post this publicly, and I'm okay with that. I hope you find peace in your life. While this is worded very carefully, it's needing for me to say a few words to let people know how I'm feeling. First of all, the tone strikes a certainly more humble-looking approach, given what he'd been posting in previous days. I think maybe this whole thing finally caught up to him, and they all, Remnant leadership included, were looking at how awful Remnant was coming across with their blasting juvenile insults, combined with what sources had been sending me, which basically led everyone who watched these live streams and posts to come away with the same conclusions. This also makes me think I was hitting very close to a soft spot when I hinted at getting out or making known publicly people's stories of how they'd been financially destroyed by these days and their remnant church. I have my own reasons for continuing this whole Michael S. Black campaign, but I can assure you things have been done to me personally which have never been apologized for or even acknowledged. Let's just say I've been in this position for over 15 years, with constant remnant secretly hiding things and going after me, which is instantaneously all destroyed as it was already completely eroded any faith of a great hopeful reunion or hopeful triumph of this once more pure place. And I want to say, as I'm sure others will agree with this, that relationships were destroyed stemming from people within this cult. It is not correct to be speaking like all of these people leaving Remnant are alienating their families. In fact, it is much closer to the complete opposite. And by the way, this was going on long before you and Tiffany even knew about Remnant Fellowship, much less became members. Besides your incorrect position, let's just say that many people would be very hopeful to hear that Remnant is interested in making families reunited again. But this same old tired RF narrative that we are all at fault would have to completely and absolutely be eradicated. Finally, I want it said that I take zero pleasure in having to live this way, with constant concern, or say some of these things, having need to point out things sometimes, which have been, I'm sure, uncomfortable. There's nothing but frustration and sadness, and a very deep feeling like I've lived most of my life and been a part of a huge false Christian cultish mess at best, and an incredibly wicked, damaging cult which has harmed many people at worst. People I've known have disappeared on me as well.